our way to Coolgardie to have a look at a few more ghost towns, and on the way we've stopped off at this place. This is the old Burracoppin Hotel. It's no longer a hotel, it's now a private residence, but it's a really fascinating looking building, and it was probably built here originally because not only is the Great Eastern Highway just there, the pipeline, the Mundaring to Kalgoorlie pipeline, runs right past here, and also the railway line. So there's several reasons why Burracoppin would have been established. One interesting fact about the township of Burracoppin is, way back around 1901, they decided to build a vermin-proof fence, that's the word, state barrier number 1, vermin-proof fence number 1, which runs from down on the south coast, Burracoppin, to Cape Cunderdin, which is east of Port Hedland. So right across Western Australia, something like 1,837 k's of fence. That was to keep the vermin out, dingoes, foxes, rabbits, emus, anything that could get into the agricultural area and destroy the crops. So before they built the fence, surveyor A. Canning surveyed it, and you may know the name Canning because he also surveyed the Canning stock route, and he would have placed survey marks the entire length on every bend in the fence, and most likely on every 1 mile post. On every 1 mile he would have put a post in the ground. Back in those days you couldn't just go to the hardware to buy a post, so they would have cut a tree down and shaped it, and most likely put a point on top, sunk it in the ground, surveyed to it, marked the whole 1,837 k's of fence, and then the contractors came in and surveyed the fence. Now, Burracoppin, this is where they started building the fence. They put the fence in to the south and to the north. It took them from 1901 to 1907 to complete this project, which is a government funded project, and even today it's still maintained and doing what it was meant to do, and keep mainly the dingoes, I think, are the biggest problem, but it's doing what it's supposed to do. So, fascinating place. Well, here we are just east of Burracoppin, and here's a bit of sample state barrier fence, formerly known as the rabbit fence, which runs from Burracoppin up to the south, up to Cape Cunderdin north. So we're heading east. We're expecting a change in the weather, thinking it could be quite hot out here, but as it turns out, it's wet and a cold breeze blowing. The gold rush of the 1890s established a massive demand for water. An engineer by the name of C.Y. O'Connor designed a water supply from Mundaring to Kalgoorlie, a 600k pipeline. To get the water to flow the length of the pipeline, he established 8 pump stations along the way. Another pump station on the Mundaring Kalgoorlie pipeline, this is Ghooli. And one thing I've noticed with the last couple is they have these massive chimneys. I can only guess they were steam pumps in the day, and so they had fires to create the steam, and that's the chimney stack for the smoke. This is Yellowdine Roadhouse, about 50 k's east of Southern Cross. It appears to be closed, and there's always been a derelict house across the road, but now that the roadhouse is closed, we may need to add another town to our list of ghost towns. We just passed an old roadhouse called Woolgangie. It's in a derelict state, so I think I have to add that one to my list of ghost towns as well. So the ghost towns list is growing apparently. This is Woolgangie. Apparently it was a telegraph station and a stopping place between Southern Cross and Coolgardie. I'm not familiar with it at all, but back in its day it was the place to be apparently. Yes, looking at this pile, I think it was a busy place. This is the site of Ghooli, number 7 pump station on the Mundaring Kalgoorlie pipeline. Now there's not much here. What I think has happened is the accommodation, few houses for the workers, most likely over there. There's this awful big, it looks like a train stopper, end of the line stopper, but there's no obvious tracks. The pipeline is over here, well, the present day pipeline, and over there there's some rubble and asbestos keep out signs. Now the pump station at Ghooli had some asbestos keep out signs, so my guess is the pump station's been demolished. But I'm not certain, because if you can't find it, you can't say it's not there. But if you can find it, then you can say it is there, if you know what I mean. Coolgardie railway station. Coolgardie is where the gold rush began. They started finding gold around here, and in 1896 the first train got here. They built this railway station, which is fabulous. And in 1900 the population of Coolgardie was around 15,000. There was 23 hotels, 6 banks, 3 stock exchanges, 3 daily newspapers and 2 weekly newspapers. They even had a school of mines here. It was the 3rd biggest town in Western Australia after Perth and Fremantle. I mean, this is unbelievable. There was gold turning up everywhere. It's just fantastic. And this railway station is now the museum. It's magnificent. We believe we're at the old town site of Londonderry, which is south of Coolgardie, around 15 k's. Now there's not a lot here. It's a open, clear area, and there are some rocks laying around. So I'm not sure whether people have been digging up the old rubbish tip, looking for bottles, bottle hunters. A few broken bits here. So they're pretty keen if that's what they've been doing. Digging up, looking. Someone's found an assortment of goodies here. Looks like a bit of a bed frame, a few bottles, more bricks. So we know the bricks didn't get here themselves, so that is a certain. Oh, here we go. This is a little more promising. It's an old telegraph pole. So whether it's a telegraph line was around here or someone's brought it in to use, I don't know. They make great fence posts. More bits of broken glass, but nothing substantial. So Londonderry looks like we are at the site, but there's nothing significant here. We have the usual cans. It looks like the diggings are more from fossickers looking for buried treasure rather than from the original gold rush days. This is the old ghost town site of Bonnie Vale, 14 k's north of Coolgardie. There doesn't appear to be a lot around other than the usual bricks, rocks, glass, tin. I think this place, from what I've read, is best known for a mine rescue here back around 1906, I think. I have to confirm that. There's a thunderstorm and they're mining underground here, and the underground mine flooded. All the workers made it to the surface, and that was something like 160 workers, apart from one who got trapped at the 1,000-foot level. They got pumps pumping, but they thought it was going to take maybe a week to pump enough water out to get him out of the mine. So they got some divers, and the divers got down and they got him out on day 9, and he survived, which is quite amazing. Lots of diggings, but I can't see where the shaft would have been. Well, I'm only standing up here looking, but from up here I can't see where the shaft might have been. There's lots of holes and piles, and yeah, don't know. In 1896, the first train got to Coolgardie, and they've got a magnificent railway station. But at some stage after then, I don't know when, they relocated the railway, the east-west railway track, to north of Coolgardie, about 15 k's. So now if you're at Coolgardie, you want to catch a train, you've got to come to this station. This is called Bonnie Vale Station, which is adjacent to the old ghost town of Bonnie Vale. This is the old settlement of Yellowdine, located between Southern Cross and Coolgardie. When they pushed the railway through to Coolgardie in 1896, the steam trains needed water on a regular basis. So Yellowdine was established. The reason they chose this particular location was because there's a massive big rock which is very suitable for a water catchment. They built a low retaining wall around the base of the rock, channeled the water into drains. The drains had rock floors and rock walls, so they're really nice drains, and they channel the water into earth dams, and then they had sufficient water for the steam trains. Now, the railway track is around here somewhere, but I can't actually see it at this moment. The first train got to Coolgardie in 1896, and Coolgardie was a real go-ahead town, third largest town in Western Australia in 1896. And train was the main means of transport. The population grew, the supplies required, and so it goes on. This is all that remains of the Mount Palmer Hotel. Mount Palmer was a gold mine between 1934 and 1944, 46 k's southeast of Southern Cross and south of Yellowdine. The hotel was dismantled after the gold ran out in 1944, and the building materials consisting of bricks, jarrah floors and jarrah staircases were taken to Ghooli to build Sandridge's department store. The building was luxurious in its day, built with bricks and jarrah floors. It had jarrah staircases. The most luxurious hotel in the goldfields in its day, they say. This must have been the hotel cellar where they kept all the goodies. A lot of bricks were used in the construction of this hotel at Mount Palmer. You can see why they would have pulled it down and relocated the building materials, bricks, jarrah floors and jarrah staircases, why they would relocate it to Coolgardie. Now we can see on the old doorway there, you've got the door obviously, we can see that bit, and that's the first floor balcony railing there, which we can see up there, which makes it a fairly significant structure because it's going to go up 2/3 that height again, which is, wow. There's not a lot left of the town, but it was most likely mainly a tent type of town. This here, however, looks like it could be the old power station. Heading in the direction of home, but we're stopping in at Westonia. Now we have established a link between Westonia and one of our ghost towns, so that is why we're going to Westonia. We've stopped here at Westonia townside, a really nice town, and the tavern behind me has been relocated from, hang on, I'll just duck back to where I was. Yeah, here we are back at Bonnie Vale, 14 k's north of Coolgardie, and yes, the pub you're looking at Westonia came from here. It was dismantled and relocated around, was it 1910? Yeah, that's right, from Bonnie Vale. They pulled it down and relocated it from Bonnie Vale. We're at the old ghost town of Chandler. Chandler was established in the early 40s when the supply of alunite was limited because of the war. So they started mining alunite or potash or gypsum out at Chandler in the 40s, just mining the salt lake that sits behind me. There's not a lot around apart from the remnants of a processing plant or loading facilities or something. I don't think there's much left of the actual town side. I think it's now just part of a paddock, but there was 70 houses there in its day, so it was a reasonable town, but I don't think there's much of the town left.